welcome back to the FYP, the For Your Period podcast, and Happy New Year. Hello, January 2024. Welcome. Full disclosure, we are recording this in December of 2023, but we're bringing the new year, new period energy right to your doorstep. So we hope you all had an awesome holiday season. We hope you had fun or at least survived the time with your family. And we know that after the intensity, you're probably ready for a reset. And you've also realized that New Year's resolutions are bullshit because the whole world is sleeping during January, February, and March, and we really shouldn't be resolving anything until April. So instead of going balls to the wall with a New Year's resolution that is not compatible for the current state of your life or the planet, we're going to talk about how we can work with our periods so that you can create habits that set you up for a new period in 2024. Welcome. What an episode. We're so excited to have you. Woo!
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm pumped. And also, before we jump in, what are you guys excited about? This is because we just did our cycle check-in because we also just recorded a second episode. So you already know where we're at in our cycles.
Yeah, if you go back to episode 8, you'll know where we are in our cycle because we're still there right now.
We're still there because it's the same day. Yeah. Same clothes. No lying on this podcast. There's no mystery. There's no costume changes.
No, and this is if you're watching this. If you're listening to this, you don't know any of this, but this is a good place for us to plug that if you would rather watch us, the episodes are available on YouTube.
You can see the tomfoolery for yourself. So come check us out on YouTube. But since we're from the past and this is a future episode, what are you looking forward to unfolding in 2024?
Golly.
I mean, besides the fact that our app is like newly refreshed and linking to Google calendars everywhere. I mean, professionally, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. That's definitely.
So also, shameless plug. If you don't have the app yet, stop what you're doing. Come back to this episode, go download the app.
Yeah, because at this point it works. All these bugs have been fixed. I'm going to say it. I can always edit it out later, but there's a brand new cycle store.
Yeah.
Like the cycle store, this thing that, I just came into this way late, but Alex and Anna have been working on this whole year. This whole thing where this app just got like that much more robust. Because if you track your shit, now you can get real-time recommendations to help you. That you can just, on your phone, order them right to your house.
That's the same for me. It's just leveling up. The app is leveling up. Personally, I'm just going to level up. I'm going to move more this year. Yeah. I'm excited about the leveling up personally, professionally, and just seeing how many more happy periods we can help create.
I think I just got an email that literally said that's what 2024 was about. Like take the past 4 years and like, it's from like one of my favorite I think it's called the Moon Studio. I think that's literally what the email said, that 2024 is about that up level, taking the past 4 years and just, magically
hard shit and making it better. Transmuting the bullshit into.
Thank you. Good word.
Creating medicine out of the madness that we've all lived through. Since we're in the putting it out there boldly, we would love to support 10,000 cycles through the Agenda Period app this year. So I'm just claiming that out loud. Let's go. And I am excited to a more powerful version of myself. I have a goal to do 325 workouts this year. So I'm going to be putting that down and just marking those. The goal to support more people in their business and just finding the work that we really love and being clear yeses and clear nos for whatever opportunities are coming in front of us. And so I'm just excited for the clarity. I'm so honored that, in 2023, both Anna and Sarah joined into the Agenda Period, that the team is expanding. I felt like I was on this island for so long. And now I've got friends on the island and it's better. The island's better with friends, y'all. It just is. It's better with friends. So to be able to be creating with other powerhouse women and what we've built built together with the CBC. If you haven't checked that out, we're going to do a whole episode on that. But like the Cyclical Business Collective, just like working with women who are getting tapped in to our cyclical selves and what that means for work, what that means for how we're showing up, what that means for everything in the world is just super exciting. And it's what we're actually going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to plan with your period in 2024. So this is my favorite topic. This is why I started the agenda period, because way back when I found out I had higher sales during the ovulation phase of my menstrual cycle. So it matters when you plan events for your life, for your work, for your business, no matter what kind of work you do. Our physiology impacts how easy or how difficult it is to do those things throughout the different phases of our cycle. So that's what we're going to jump in today. Any final thoughts before we jump into the period planning guide, the new year, new period? No? All right.
Just jump, girl.
Just jump in. All right. So we definitely want to encourage all of you to go to the link in the show notes and to download your own copy of the period planning guide, because this version is really special. We have been connecting with other women from the Cyclical Business Collective, and we're doing a massive giveaway. We want as many people to have access to these amazing period products, mostly led by women-led organizations. So it's super, super cool. And so it's not on this version that I'm going to walk through today, but when you download it, you're going to see all of our period partners at the end. You're going to see other amazing products, things that can help you work with your period. So for those on YouTube, I'm going to go through and kind of show my screen and show some of the different components of the period planning guide that I'm really proud of. But thing number one, a lot of times we have been taught that we need to shove our body into a box and work around everything else, right? This idea that you just need to cut yourself off, change yourself, cram your body in, pretend to be that you're not cyclical in this linear world in order to get ahead. And so the very first principle that we're coming from with the period planning guide is that the thing that is constant is not the world. The thing that is constant is your body. And instead of changing your body to match the world, you need to change your world to match your body. The thing that is biologically true, this biological reality of your peaks and valleys, is the actual thing that we come here first, and then we move the things around in our life. And that is a mind fuck for so many people. It's actually the biggest complaint that I get from the thousands of people we've worked with. It's like, Alex, I can't change my life for my period. And I say, actually, you have no choice but to change your life for your period if you want to be fully optimized. That is a hot take. This doesn't mean you need to lay down in the middle of your bed for 5 days every single month and you're not doing anything and you're completely offline, because we know that is not a reality for people. But we do know that if you want to have the least amount of stress, the highest level of optimization, and the greatest level of productivity, you must take this biological reality, your blueprint, as the thing that's true, and then do what you can to change the pieces around that. And it's non-negotiable. Okay. This also doesn't even mean you have to tell everybody you're on your period, because you don't have to if you don't want to. I tell everybody. You don't have to be like that. You can just say, hey, that day doesn't work for me. Let's do this other day instead, right? It doesn't mean you have to be a weirdo. You don't have to get a period tattoo on your forehead if you don't want to. No neck tattoos required in order to make this work for you. We can actually just show you how you can make a few simple shifts in order to really begin to work from the place that your blueprint is the reality that you're working from. So without further ado, I'm going to go through the period planning guide. Let's see. So this is our reimagined and redesigned, beautiful period planning guide. She is so cute. So here she comes with the table of contents, right? Here's your little roadmap for the year ahead. Here's what you're going to go through. Helpful ways to think about about this journey. We've talked about this on an episode before, but we really like to think about this journey as the inner seasons. So the menstrual phase is your winter time, the follicular phase is your inner spring, ovulation is your inner summer, and the luteal phase is your inner autumn. And as we are in global winter right now, or at least Northern Hemisphere winter, it's really good to think about what are the things that are going on outside. How do I like to respond to that? And how does that match up with my period, right? The same thing with spring, same thing with summer, same thing with autumn. So this is a really helpful way to think about our journey. We're going to know we're shifting through these 4 different pieces, and our attitudes change, our personality changes, what we need change. And Anna brought it up so beautifully on this episode. We don't make fun of people for needing a winter coat. in winter. We're just like, oh, you need a winter coat because it's winter. We don't make fun of people for wearing a bikini in the summer. Oh, you just need to have your swimsuit on at the beach because it's the summertime. We just allow people to use the tools that they need with the season to keep themselves safe. And it's the exact same thing you need to start thinking about with your own menstrual cycle journey. What are the tools that I need to keep myself safe from the elements, in quotes, as we are moving through these 4 distinctive parts of the cycle? And some people feel these shifts differently, more intensely than other people. Just like if you live in Texas compared to living in Iowa, you may experience a more intense variety in the seasons. It's okay if some of this resonates with you, but not all of it. Take what you need and leave the rest. So how to use this planning guide. You're going to grab a planner of choice or even use the Agenda Period app. You're going to start on the first day of your cycle, and then you're going to start to estimate your phases for the month. So if you know approximately how many days you are, you're going to start to map out this period planning guide. And that's the whole intention of planning with a period. We're not doing anything that's set in stone, but we are really taking this as a high level view. How can I set out this high level view for myself for the month? And then I know I can be flexible as we move things through. Then you're going to add your tasks and you're going to take time to really reflect. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into each of the phases and what they're really good for. Why this is super duper duper important. Female hormones are very, very different from male hormones. Men, more or less, their hormones do the same thing pretty much every single day, right? We've got some peaks in the morning and peaks in the afternoon. It changes more for them with the seasons, right? Connected to light, their circadian rhythm. And as they age, they may not have as intense of these kind of peaks, but everything that our body is going through in almost a month, they kind of go through their cycle in one day, in 24 hours. So we hear a lot of conventional wisdom when it comes to planning, when it comes to productivity, is do the same thing every single day. Get up, doesn't matter. Get up at 5 a.m., get your workout in, do your grounding, do your blah, 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 right? Do every single thing the same way, eat the same foods. That does not work for us because we do not do the same thing every day. We do the same thing over a month. So this is why we really need to start to unpack this. We just require a different recipe and a different blueprint. The Agenda Period Planning Guide is that blueprint for you to start implementing these things into your life. So again, we've got lots of great stuff around the menstrual cycle, just this reintroduction. Then we've got a page that literally takes you through each of the phases, what moon phase it represents, the seasons, approximately how many days long it is, what are the physical experiences you may be having, any actions to honor your phase qualities, the cycle of creation, which is like what should you be focusing on work-wise during each of those phases, as well as suggested tasks. Like this thing is packed to the brim with content for you.
That's good shit.
So it's good. It's so good. It's so good. So let's get into the nitty gritty. The menstrual phase is the time for planning. And you may think like, I don't want to be because a lot of times we think of planning as the doing. Planning is literally just sitting by yourself, getting your notebook out and starting to think about what you want to be working on in each of the phases over the next month. So actually sit down. You may want to do some analyzing and organizing from the last month, any meditation, any journaling. And then you want to just be tuning into your intuition and then mapping out that big skeleton. What am I going to be doing for the next month ahead? What activities are going to make sense in my work and in my personal life? And how do I get pieces in place? How do I get supports in place for these things? That's what you're going to want to do during the menstrual phase. During the follicular phase, you're going to,
go back to that page. One of my favorite bullets on that page is the last and work activities of letting go of what didn't serve us last month. That is so liberating. Alex gave me this suggestion one time when I was trying to make a decision, and she was like, just bleed on it. Just sit and bleed on it. And it's just something, you're like this portal when you're bleeding and letting things go that didn't serve you and knowing what those things are. That has been one of the most powerful activities that I have done during my menstrual phase. So please, I did not want you to brush past that. Once you get the guide, you'll be able to see it, but that's.
Yeah. And if planning kind of like feels like a little bit too like harsh, sometimes I like to think of it as my dreaming phase. Like if you need it a little bit more loose, like just let your brain go all the places. When you're menstruating, it's easier for the two halves of your brain to communicate with each other. So you're just more open to, you know, any downloads that might come. So just keep your notebook handy. That's what we're telling you.
I love that because I can get really hard on myself, or if something feels hard during the luteal phase, it can feel like I'm out of choices, or like I don't have any options. And one of the most stressful things for humans is to feel like there's no other way. But we, you know, that phrase, you can't see the forest through the trees. Sometimes if we get so focused on like the thing that's not working, of like holding on to what wasn't serving us, we can't see any new opportunities. So I love the letting go, and then asking myself very intentionally, what possibilities exist? What can I make happen for myself? What is a new creative way to solve this problem that I wasn't thinking about before? And now I'm not going to rush into solving the problem, but I'm just doing the dreaming. I'm doing the visioning work during the menstrual phase. So hell yeah. Hell yeah. Then in the follicular phase is the doing phase, right? This is the internal spring. This is the busy bee time. We're going to actually start to work the plan. So if you had your high level plan from your period, then you can maybe start actually working on some of those new projects, mapping ideas, a good time for networking, a good time with meeting with new people, a good time for brainstorming. So actually getting into the plan that you created and starting to move that thing forward. The next phase is our ovulation phase. So this is a great time. We call them the manifesting activities, right? It is the receiving from the planning and hard work that you have done. It is asking for what you want, because you are harder to say no to during this phase, and no one even knows why, but it's just the sazon, the essence that comes off of you during the ovulation phase. You are hard to say no to. So it's a good time for asking for a raise, scheduling your sales calls, anything like that. This is, you know, your conversion rate's going to go up if you plan it during ovulation, no matter what the conversion is. Even if it's like convincing your husband to go on, that trip you've been really wanting to go on. Great time to do this during the ovulation phase. Luteal phase, then the longest phase, gets a bad rap. And we kind of think of it, our team, like week one, like phase 1 and phase 2 of the luteal phase, kind of these two different parts. Luteal phase week 1 tends to be high energy, but still a little bit more internal to yourself, but a good time to get things done, scheduling, wrapping things up, decluttering, doing all of the projects, administrative tasks. I call it my CEO week because I don't give a fuck about anything that someone says to me. So like if I need to have a tough conversation, I'm scheduling it during the luteal phase, because I will stand my ground and I'll be super clear about where my yeses and nos are. And I think it's because I have less estrogen. I have less fear of rejection. I just don't care as much what people have to say about me during the luteal.
So if Alex calls you during her luteal phase, you may want to let it go to voicemail, because she may read you for filth.
Probably a good idea. Yep. And then the second phase can be more sensitive. I find this to be true. And I found, like, for a long time, I rejected that part of myself because, we get made fun of for crying and being too emotional. But this can be the time where I'm just like more highly in tuned to how I'm feeling about things. And the truth comes up, and the things I've been ignoring and the places where my boundaries have been leaky all like shows itself to me during this phase. And it can make me feel very reactive. So we want to take those feelings seriously, but not personally. Right. That's what I love to say during this phase. Like, well, let's take it seriously. Like, we take the information. We're not belittling ourselves. I'm just luteal. Don't listen to anything I say. No, that's not what it is. We take it seriously, but not personally. So we're not beating ourselves up for feeling those things. And we're taking that moment to recalibrate. So that is at the high level what the guide goes into, and really shows you how to begin to work with those 4 phases. Then we show you some stuff around how to know when you're ovulating, how to use the moon cycle. So if you've got a free range cycle or you're postmenopausal, you can actually do some of this planning with the moon. If you have your own cycle, I always recommend to take that as the ultimate authority. Some people try really hard to like stress themselves out to like match up with the moon. I don't think that's necessary. If you've got your own cycle, stick with that. If you're, again, free range or postmenopausal, use this as a good jumping off point. But then the guide has some sample calendars for you. So yeah, you can just kind of play around with that, and then you'll see our product page with some of the things that we love. So do you guys have any questions? I went through that pretty quick, but that's just like at the high level, how to plan with your period and what you get out of the guide.
Yeah. And if you do have any questions, if you're watching or you're listening to this, like please hop over to Instagram and send us a message or comment on a post or whatever it is that you need to do, because we want to answer all of your questions about this. We want to help you actually do this. And then if you're like kind of already in it and you're like, I want a place to go even further, like with this doing business cyclically, well, then you should just come hang out with us in the Cyclical Business Collective, and we'll include a link so you could come to our free Friday networking calls and just check it out. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Ask the things, talk about all the things. It's the perfect safe space to just be a cyclical person. And that chart of our hormones compared to men's, when I first learned that, it was so liberating for me. It's like, I have 28 days to get this shit done instead of 24 hours. Yeah. Like I can wait, I can put that off until I'm going to be the most efficient and productive at doing that. It was so liberating. So this guide, y'all, it's chock full of like the shit we should have learned when we were in middle school or whenever you took that class that told you about yourself. Yeah, this is.
Gosh, could you imagine? Like even just
We'd
yesterday,
be unstoppable. Yeah,
I had to kind of remind myself. It was like, no, I'm in like the luteal phase. Like check the boxes. Like I know where I'm at. And yesterday I was just at my desk, like getting stuff off my plate. And my husband's like doing all the things. He's like going out because he had the day off. He's like going out and grabbing a beer and reading. And then he comes home and he's vacuuming and doing laundry and all the things. And I'm just like, I can't, no. I can't do like, I'm just not in the place where I can do all that in a day, but I'm glad you can.
Yeah. Yeah. The spreadsheets that happen during the luteal phase, the check mark, the to-do list that gets checked off, the organization that happens, and the cuss words that fly. It just ramps up during that phase. And it's just good to know that things can be, there's a time and place for everything, and seasons, cyclical. Women are badasses. Menstruators, like if you're cyclical, like you've got superpowers. So
yes, you really
plan
are.
Accordingly.
And just have it's the key to avoiding burnout. If you can figure out a way to make all of this work, life is going to happen. But if the overarching picture is like, no, I know I don't have to do everything every day, you are going to be in a much better place. And honestly, I think males should try this too, because clearly the earth has seasons and has cycles. If we could all be a little bit more seasonally or cyclically aligned, like the world would be a different place.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was just, it was so relieving because like when I started my company, I was trying to do sales calls like multiple times a week, every week, because I thought I had to do that in order for my business to succeed. But when I just saw the data so clearly, I made more money when I had my sales calls during ovulation. I had a higher conversion rate. I was closing many more of those sales. We don't actually have to do everything all the time. And in fact, we shouldn't be doing everything all the time, because we always talk about in business, like work smarter, not harder, but all we're doing is running around like little chickens with our heads cut off, working harder all the time, trying to do everything every day. And I'm just like, there is a better way. Come hang out with us and let us show you. Come do it.
I like completely drop the hustle and grind attitude. Like no more of those t-shirts or koozies or whatever. No, we're not hustling and grinding. We're just living cyclically. We're going with the flow, literally.
We're leading and bleeding, right?
Yes. It was like the same thing, like we're doing this big outreach project right now. And I know I do more of that during the luteal phase. So I'm not going to freak out if I don't put anything on there for 2 weeks during the follicular phase, because I just don't like doing it during that time. But now I'm going to crunch out so many more of them during the luteal phase. And when you know that, it makes it easier to plan with your work, your life, your business, because you don't have to be in a tailspin. I don't freak out in the follicular phase if my pantry is terrible, because I know I'm going to really want to do that. And when you want to do it, it gets done so much faster than when you're pulling teeth trying to do it. So it just like game changer. It literally changes your whole life when you learn how to work, that you say, my body is the first blueprint and everything gets laid over that, rather than the other way around.
That's the big takeaway. My body is the blueprint. I'm making a shirt.
Hell yeah. We need a shirt. Awesome. Well, we encourage everyone to go grab their copy of the period planning guide, start planning with your period in 2024. It's free. Join the giveaway, get in the running for some cool swag and amazing period products. And we'll catch you all on the next episode of the FYP. Thanks, everybody.